I will ask us to consider Dr. Schilling's request on his presentation that we need to give a guidance to our superintendent on scenario 1 or 2. I will open it up to us for discussion.
Well, as he said, we start off with scenario 1 and then look towards moving towards scenario 2. If we have the monies then, or don't have the monies rather.
I would like to see a proposed schedule to see what actual changes that would entail.
So basically, what we need to do is give him direction to prepare the schedule. So that's what we're trying to get to the bottom of. So I guess where the question comes in: do we prepare a schedule for scenario 1 first, and then we look at that, and then we try to work in what we can, looking at the budgetary working with Dr. Schilling, or do we work on number 2 and then we work backwards? So that's really up to us to give him some direction of which route to go to have a starting point. You know, the reason why we're having this conversation in November is because we needed to get this out for the community to know, for the board members to know, to give us time to digest the numbers versus rushing to make a decision that's going to happen. So we just give us plenty of time to make sure we're making the right decision. So Mike is suggesting that we follow Dr. Schilling's approach. Is anyone opposed to that?
That's looking at scenario 1 first, correct?
Yes. No one's opposed? So if you could work on scenario number 1. Thank you. Public participation. Okay. Need a script, colleagues. You already asked 2 or 3 questions.
Yeah, that's it. Just go.
I just remind everyone that we have a 5-minute time limit. Thank you.
This question, you guys mentioned as far as the open position. I noticed on the letter there was no due date for the resumes and letters, but it sounded like there is a time frame.
There is. We have to appoint someone within 45 days of receiving it. That is January 1st. And due to the Christmas holiday, I would like to be able to do it by our next meeting, which is the 12th, correct?
Yes.
And so I would assume that we should have them before then. And so we will work on a date to update the website on a due date. We'll call it tomorrow.
I'm just doing yes.
Okay, cool. That was number 1. 2, and I'll make this quick. I happen to be looking at the agenda for this year, for today's meeting. And what caught my eye was just the listing of the monthly budget, or the bills. Just did a total, $439,000. I was shocked by that number, and I was like, let me check. Maybe the last one is that the running total for last meeting, the last one obviously I had to September's, which was $180,000. I don't know how you guys budget for that, because that is a tremendous difference in that number. So there's that. But one of the things that kind of struck me was that a significant number of this monthly bill was for transportation. $51,000 in transportation from like 4 different companies. Is there any way to consolidate that? I don't know what the transportation is for. Is there any way to consolidate that? Because even looking at the same companies, the difference is one was double the amount from, I know this isn't last month, this is essentially August, and this is now. But that's a huge, huge difference. I mean, how are you guys able to manage that when the numbers are so different? When I would suspect that the contracts for this use, are they not like a set number?
Most of the transportation, or pretty much all of it, is special education, and so so it depends on what the IEP says for that child. So there's certain children that are driven in a bus or a vehicle. There's an aid involved, and so it depends out there at the end. So,
But is that
There's
not
two different things that you're
standardized?
making. Let's not. You have cash flow versus budget. Those are two different things.
Sure.
So what you're seeing here is the cash flow with respect to the expenses that are being paid based on when we're billed, and that's the first thing. The second thing is. That's something. The second thing is our transportation services are not bid through the district, they're bid through LASIK. That's the first one. Plus, you have private facilities that provide a different type of transportation. So we have students that go to different private facilities that are going to require, based on their bids or their contracts, transportation for those students, versus LASIK based on their bids for our students that are being serviced through the LASIK program. So if we were to bring all of our programs in-house, we could bid it from the district and we would have a congruent service that's providing that transportation. And it may be a little bit different for the private facility, depending on contractually what we agreed to. But just because you saw 180 in the previous expenses doesn't mean you're going to see the same amount for this one.
No. I mean, I was just shocked at the tremendous difference between 180 and let's say 430. But
Yeah.
then just looking at the same companies from September's to now, the same companies, the differences in cost are huge. Some are double. And so that's why I just understand, like, it's the same students requiring the same service. Why wouldn't that be a consistent number throughout versus literally like one was.
you look at Rochelle.
It could be a billing. It's a billing statement. I mean, it depends on what they're billing us for, what dates they have that they're billing us for. It's not like a typical. This isn't like a lease payment on a car. So you're not necessarily going to have the same lease payment month over month over month. You may have different days that are being calculated, and the transportation for that student that's going to fluctuate that actual expenses. And so it's within budget. That's the most important thing to know.
But the good news is also that we started to put these on the agenda so people can see where the money is going.
Sure.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to transportation, it's something that we have very little control over. So, but thank you.
Frank Trujillo.
So I think the new numbers are in. Mark has brought up a few times. And I reviewed the 112 Cook County districts, all 112 Cook County districts. And in that, North School District 80 is the 34th place in park score out of 112 throughout Cook County. That's very good. What's pitiful is only 5 of the 112 Cook County districts spend less per student than District 80. So neighborhoods or districts that we would not move to and send our kids to are able to spend more per student than our beloved District 80. So consider that.
Thank you, Mr. Lucio.
Josephine Bianco.
Mrs. Biondo.
Good evening. This went longer than what I thought, but anyways, so good evening. My name is Josephine Bianco. I'm here along with ST&P 7th and 8th grade parents, along with myself, Principal Palmer, here to present to you for the opportunity for an academic outing for our 7th and 8th graders to go to Springfield and our 8th graders to go to Washington, D.C. So Springfield would be within the first couple of weeks of May. Washington, D.C. would be from May 31st to June 4th. Approximately Springfield for the day would be $175. Washington, D.C. would be approximately $650. It would be the responsibility of parent, student. There are going to be plenty of fundraising opportunities that we will present in order to fund this. So we are seeking the approval from the board to move forward with this spectacular opportunity. That's about it. So I would just like to thank you for your time to allow me to present this. So on behalf of myself, Principal Palmer, 7th and 8th grade parents, and myself, thank you. Any questions?
This is an awesome opportunity for our kids.
It is an amazing opportunity.
And just to be clear, the expectation from the district to fund is 0, correct?
Yes. So, so Principal Palmer was gracious enough to look up all this information for us. So Springfield. So we felt that implementing this for the first time this year, we thought we were going back and forth between Springfield, Washington, D.C., both, none, either. So we did send out a couple of surveys, and the overwhelming response was wonderful by our 8th grade parents. So we felt like we should implement it, since this is our first year as a junior high, that we should do 7th and 8th grade as a transitional year, do Springfield. So 8th graders will have the opportunity to do Springfield and Washington, D.C., one or the other, both, whatever they decide to do. And then going forward next year, it would just be 7th grade does Springfield in conjunction with the Constitution, and then 8th grade would just do Washington, D.C. And STMP and myself and Principal Palmer, we are going to have so many fundraising opportunities. So you could either write a check in full if you don't. Some like to fundraise, some don't. But there will be plenty of fundraising opportunities, so every child will be able to go if they choose.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yes. First, I'm not negative. I think it's amazing, and I think it's awesome. But being in our position, aside from the 0 cost to the board, this is probably directed more to Mrs. Palmer. Does the cost include any and all insurance riders, anything to cover the school from any liability for this trip? Is that all inclusive?
We would have to have our legal review that, but yes, the students buy the trip through the company. Bright Spark is the company, and they provide the insurance.
Okay.
Yeah, before we incur cost, I want to make sure the board is on board with us to move forward to take a look at the contract to make sure that it does exactly what you're expecting it to do.
Any other questions?
Is there a contingency plan? I mean, what will happen for the students who decide not to go?
So basically I did my own private investigation on this. So this is our first year doing this, right? So just like the high school does, the high school gives the opportunity for, during band, they have Walt Disney. Italian class goes to Italy. Spanish class goes to Spain. So it's already implemented in their program, and everyone knows that every other year they do these trips. You're not obligated to. So, and there's going to be plenty of other things for these 8th graders. So it's not like, oh my gosh, an 8th grader doesn't want to go or can't be away from home. We understand, everything that's involved in this. But there's going to be so many other things for these 8th graders. There's the 8th grade dance. There's going to be there might be a different outing. We're really trying to put something together for those 8th graders that are not going to partake in this.
More just as,
what do you mean?
if you're going to Springfield, I'm assuming it'll be during the weekday.
Okay, so So Springfield is one day
students who
during.
choose not to go,
Right.
they will just attend school that day, and there will be.
I'm not sure. First year, we need to.
Yes,
we
that's
need-
my question.
Yeah,
Just got it.
we would provide, regular
So-
school day.
That was my question.
Yeah.
That's it.
So we really we need to gain your approval first before we move forward with this. So once we get the board's approval, then we can come together as our 8th grade committee and really put our heads together and
Because the plan
Move
with,
forward.
and being a step member myself and working on the same committee, what this allows for this year only, because it's transitional, any 8th grader who does not want to go on a Washington trip would have the option to go to Springfield for the day with the 7th graders. So that is just for this year. The following year, it'll be known. 7th grade Springfield, 8th grade, DC. So, again, there's a lot of work behind the scenes that's going on, and, there's, a lot of excitement behind it, and, so, continue, I'm sorry.
Yeah, keep in mind, quickly, when he walked the building, he asked us exactly
First thing he said.
If you come to Washington, let us know. We'll try and get you in.
Yeah.
I don't know what it means, but we'll get you in somewhere.
So is anyone,
Positive.
so is anyone opposed for us to investigate, to put this on the agenda for December and to review that contract and look at what the contingencies are? Under the circumstances, it costs the district $0 and 0 cents.
Yep.
Great.
Thank you.
Any
Thank
other-
you.
Anyone else on
Great
that?
work.
Oh, great.